Good evening. I'd like to bring the Finance Committee meeting to order. We're running a little bit late. We can always run a little late. We just can't be early. So first on our agenda, they're ready.
Everybody's here.
Oh, okay.
Roll call.
We're on TV.
Okay.
Okay. Well, again, we'll do a roll call of all the people that are here, just for those people who don't know who we are. I am Dan Campbell, the chair.
Bernie Parada, vice chair.
Tony Mateo.
David McCarthy.
Gail Weiss. Sue Kaczynski.
And in the audience tonight, and representing the Council on Aging is
Colleen Materno.
Colleen. Could you come forward, please?
Sure.
One of the things that we always start off with when we're doing our budgets for the year is explain to everybody that comes in that we are a recommending committee. So what we're going to do is take everything that we get from every one of our different departments, what they recommend in their budget, we're going to look it over and we will come up and we will vote later on to recommend or not recommend things in the budget. So we're here tonight to have you present your budget.
Okay. So the Council on Aging isn't asking for too much additional funding. We have a new coworker who has a different job description. So her salary actually needs to be bumped up to meet what she was hired at of $8,007.76. It was a reclassified position. There's improved hours, improved job description, more a heavier load of responsibility, and it fits very well with Robin Jenkins, who happens to be who I hired in July. So that is the COA wages part-time budget line that needs to match what she was hired at for a different classification and grade. The COA meetings and seminars, now that we're back in full swing, I know that last year I did ask for an additional board member to join me at the annual fall meeting, and that was a great success. The prices, obviously, inflation, it will go up a little bit, but I'm only asking for $100 more in that budget line to cover the costs of the 2 out of the 3 conference days. Hotel stay and mileage. So, and then the other was the mileage, because we are enhancing our programming with 3 in-house different types of food related lunches. We're doing a men's breakfast. We're going to do a memory cafe, and that includes lunch. We're going to be doing just an additional dine-in, up to 25 people in the senior center, a monthly meal. So that means going into Greenfield at 16 miles round trip is just an additional expense that I hadn't factored in the past, as well as that second person, if they wanted to bring their own car and choose 2 other different conference days. I wanted to have a cushion because it is a 3-day conference, but I've been only going 2 of the days. But all 3 are very important days, and that other person may want to take their own car and go in. So it's in my opinion, it feels very reasonable. It's not exorbitant to add on those couple of extra things. And the stove in the senior center, when I started here almost 3 years ago, it was needing lots of repairs. We needed to do some diagnostics, get to the root of the issue as to why it wasn't firing at all cylinders. It was very smelly, very gas-like. So we went back to square one and we unearthed anything that could possibly go wrong, which brought in some semi-annual inspections, fire suppression system inspections, cleaning the hood and and inspecting the different pilots and getting those things repaired. Have led to a working stove, except for one side. The oven is broken and it's requiring parts. So because I had a small cushion of an article for stove repairs or kitchen renovations, I was able to be paying for these inspections the last couple of years out of that, but that has now exhausted. So we need a standing, in my opinion, we need a standing repair of the stove and possibly the sanitation. Looks like a dishwasher, but it's just a sanitizer, and anything could go wrong. There's hoods, there's refrigeration units, there's 2 freezers in there. So I don't have any budget line for that. So that's why I am asking, in my worksheet, I have asked for $3,000 to cover costs. May not ever even need the $3,000, but it might. Like this oven repair is close to $1,500, and that's just one side of one piece of one equipment. And so we have ordered for that, and they gave me a quote, and it was only good for 30 days, so I had to make it happen. So we are going to get that repaired, and even him shutting down, the repairman shutting down that one side of the stove, the smell in there, I mean, we were getting headaches. We had the fire department there measuring. It was really, it was a dysfunctional situation. And it wasn't pleasant to be in the senior center. People would come off the street, the bus drivers in the morning, and they'd say like, whoa, what is happening? So, since he shut it down, closed it off, all the valves, because it's not working properly, and he's ordering new parts, it hasn't smelled at all. The stove is working beautifully. We just are down an oven out of 2.
So the $1,400, almost $1,500,
Yeah.
you are taking that from some other area at the moment?
Yes, I believe that, and I'm not sure if Andrea can chime in, but it was through a special finance committee. I don't know what it was called that you did, Andrea. It was just a couple, for the stove
We
repair.
ended up doing it from ARPA funds. We were going to do a reserve fund request.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure where it ended up, so I just know it was approved to be able to order the parts.
So were you anticipating some of this $3,000 to be used to take care of that?
When I put that budget item down, I hadn't received the news that ARPA or the special was approved.
So-
So this was to incorporate that at that point.
So since you're getting funds from another source
Yep.
to offset that, are you reconsidering the $3,000, or you think that's what you would need going forward? Because that's a pretty good increase in your budget. If you feel that every year that you're going to need $3,000 for equipment.
Right. So if you, I don't know what you have for a worksheet, but I'm assuming it's the same as mine, like the Mass Fire Technology Semi-Annual Fire Suppression inspections, it's $550 a year. Popco service cleaning, they repair the pilots, that's $870 a year. So, and that's shy of the refrigerator, the sanitizer. I'm anticipating that with the age of all of the equipment in there, and nothing is new, that any given year or month, something could go wrong, and it would be difficult to come up with monies to cover. So I would like to try to have a good cushion in case something happens, and obviously only use it if we need something but it would be really a good idea to have a cushion to cover all the things that need to be inspected, and these are this is a fire department level of inspections, and they report to Skip, so yeah. And we did have a refrigerator unit something went down. That was maybe 2 years ago. I don't have that price on here, but I had to call in Arctic Refrigeration, and that was back when I had a little cushion, so I was able to quickly write them the check. But if I had no funds to pay these nice workers that are coming from Agawam and they're quite booked, I just want to make sure that we treat the whole situation with the respect, because these are big items that could go wrong, and I really feel that it would be a good idea to have the money in place, and if it's not used, it can just get reabsorbed or whatever.
Get back in the general fund,
Yeah. but it would be good to have it just in case.
At some point, I imagine these things are going to completely break down or it's not worth fixing. Do you have an idea when you want to start looking?
Yeah,
maybe?
when I first started, we were looking at a brand new stove, and there was a lot of discussion around what type of stove and things like that, and they're extremely expensive, and then you also have to get rid of the stove, and there's a lot to be involved. This stove, the amount of times that we are using it, I think it will live many more years, especially if we address things timely and when it happens. I'm not like putting Band-Aids on it, so I think that it's in good working order, it's run well, the inspections are going well, they're not finding too much wrong, so I don't know that I have a crystal ball on that. I'm just glad we don't need a new stove because they're huge.
So the source you found that is going to be able to take care of this, are they, the stoves that you have, you can almost not kill it if you can get parts and pieces to it because they don't make stoves as good
Sure.
as that. So is this something that would be still available if we have something like that happen again a few years from now, or is this I'm trying to think, is this company been around a while?
Oh, yes,
or-
yes,
Okay.
these
Yeah,
are,
Popco's been around.
Popco.
forever.
Oh,
Been around a long time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
And because they are like the best and the name of
Oh,
the
yeah.
game, they charge like almost $300 just to drive up here
Oh,
with
yeah.
all their equipment. So, I mean, it's just even getting a worker to do the work, and they're responsive. I've had really good luck with them, and they explain everything, and I sign off on the inspection, and they tell me what is wrong or right. And this last repairman came in, and he did a fabulous job, and he diagnosed the issue with the leak that has evaded all of us for years. We
worth $300
haven't been
to
able
come
to
to it.
figure out why it is so, and it doesn't read in the fire departments, but it was really making you nauseous and headachy, and it was just not worth it.
Well, it's great that we have a source then that you can fall back on.
Yes.
And that's what I was concerned with.
Yeah, no, these guys are definitely the name of the game. And the fire suppression, mass fire, they're really top notch. They're the ones that installed the hood and all of the diagnostics, that panel that goes to the left of the stove. If you're looking at it, and I've had the gas company come out. They've measured the pressure out to the street, and so the biggest thing that could go wrong would be the stove or the
Okay.
refrigeration unit. And I just
Approximately how many people do you have regularly coming into the senior center?
on a
Daily,
food day.
weekly basis? Yeah.
On a day to
Yeah.
eat,
Yeah,
or
yeah. What's
related
kind of
to
the
stove.
Yeah.
That's a good draw.
Well, as I say, we're really branching off into 3 new programs starting this month, actually, and they can hold up to 25 people to safely put people in at the rounds, and then about 5 or 7 volunteers. So, and we feed them as well. So 30.
Yeah, I unfortunately get the chance to see that it's being used every single day. So there's always somebody in the senior center whenever I go
Oh, yeah,
down by there.
we're-
So I'm glad it's being utilized.
Yeah, we're busy.
Yeah, that's good.
We are.
That
Yeah, it's very successful, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how much of a population or percentage of population do you estimate that are in that age group that might use your services?
Oh boy, well, we have about 1,000 seniors in town, and if you look at my key holder in there, it's busting at the seams. You can't even fit another key on there. So, yeah, we're the newest program is wildly already advertised and successful, and that's the Memory Cafe, and we're opening it up to caregivers and care recipients from all towns. And so I've got a whole network between Greenfield, Shelburne, and myself of advertising for each other and having people have at least 3 out of 4 weeks in a row to go somewhere with their recipient so that they can get out, have a social time, feel somewhat in the normalcy of social and life, and get fed, and there's music, and we have live entertainment, and so that and my Happy Feet, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
you were with me this morning. That's very successful, and I've got some cultural grants coming up, and we're going to be inviting them to play for the the kindergartners again, and so yeah, we're doing a lot. We're very busy.
Just for everybody's knowledge, we do have quite a few senior centers, but we have an aging population.
Yeah.
We have more
Oh,
people over the age of 55 than we do under that, as far as. So
That's
we
right.
are aging more in the town of Northfield, and the facilities we have here to be able to help that out is awesome. As far as that. So.
Yeah, and we look forward to the pavilion, and we just had a shed built on it, and we have a new grill, and so we want to do more programming and outdoor barbecues and things like that. So yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions they would like to ask?
Nope.
No,
Seeing none, thank you very much. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank
the
you.
presentation. Thank
no,
you.
thank you. Have a good day.
See you on our next walk.
Andrea, did you say that the recreation is going to be coming in via Zoom, or are they going to be here?
I believe you're going to have some members there. I think the only person that needed to Zoom in for sure was Stacy, because Stacy has COVID.
Oh, too bad. While we're waiting, since we have a couple more minutes here, I'd like to kind of go down to review of minutes, and I think the only minutes that we have not approved would be November 20th. Has everybody had a chance to see the minutes?
I don't think I got them.
Okay.
I don't remember getting them,
I
but
don't remember getting them.
I would look them over. They look good to me. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of November 20. What was the date? I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't there. So I can't do anything.
Of November 30th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written for the Finance Committee meeting that it took place on November 30th, 2023.
Do I have a second?
Tony Mateo, I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying yes. Dan Campbell says yes.
Bernie Parada says yes.
Tony Mateo, yes.
David McCarthy, yes.
Gail Weiss, yes.
Sue Kaczynski abstain.
So approved. We're a couple of minutes early. The minutes that have been approved will be getting on the website as soon as possible. I had a little glitch with my computer, so I had a little trouble scanning, so that has been rectified. So those should go on either tomorrow or by at least Wednesday, just so you know. Andrea, I don't want to get into the special town meeting yet.
No, I have Stacy coming in now. I just let her in.
Okay. Stacy, are you with us? Hi. Okay. So, are you planning on, is someone planning on coming in person?
Well, Josh was hopefully going to be there. Is
Okay.
he out there?
Not at the moment, so we'll wait a little bit before that happens.
Okay. I'm going to text him too and see if he's on his way.
Okay. Well, we're a couple of minutes early. We're like 6:20 something here. 6:26.
Gail, is that computer that screen? Could you click on the got it box so it gets rid of that box,
Okay, yeah,
please?
yeah, no problem. Oh, shoot, why isn't it letting me? How does this thing operate? Why isn't this?
Is there a ball?
There,
Oh, there you
okay,
go.
I think I
Oh, there
don't
you
know
are.
what I hit.
There's Stacy. Now we can see
Okay. I don't know what I hit to get rid of that.
just touched something.
Yeah.
Stacey, do you feel comfortable starting, or do you want to wait until your representative gets here?
Like I said, Josh said he would be there, which I trust that he will. I just
hear
texted him.
footsteps. We hear
Footsteps, so
Sorry.
we hear.
We hear
Okay.
footsteps.
Okay, good.
Front and center, sir.
Perfect.
Yay, Josh.
Hey, Stacy.
So I'll give you the spiel that Finance Committee gives everybody as far as the budget hearings go. We are a recommending commission, committee. So what we will do is we will take into consideration anything that you bring up on your budget. But we are, like I said, we will eventually deliberate and we will vote whether to recommend or not recommend. And it may be the entire thing or maybe some areas that we don't understand. So it's to your benefit to let us know if there's any increases, what the increases are. So that being said, we'll let you begin.
Josh, do you want to go or do you want me to start?
Go ahead. Why don't you start, Stacy?
Okay. I think that you guys obviously have the budget in front of you. And for the most part, everything is relatively the same, except there's two major ones, major differences. One is for the program director, and the other one is for the wages, I believe, right? Yes. And so the main reason for those two changes, those two increases, the wages are mostly the summer camp, between having to have, we have a director, an assistant director. We just got the summer camp going after many years, just this past year. So we were sort of just doing our best guessing as to what that would cost us. We also have two counselors. This year we're looking to increase it, because again, last year was just the first time off the ground in many years. So this year we're hoping to have a bigger group of kids. So that means more counselors. So we're looking at possibly having to hire 4 counselors. We also have an additional week that we can sneak in this July. So instead of 4 weeks, it'll be 5 weeks. And then some of our programs that have just exploded, especially pickleball, where we have like 50 people. So we absolutely need to have, in order for that to run smoothly, we have to have that recreation attendant job as well. And she's now doing 3 times a week because people are demanding it. And if we don't do it 3 times a week at this point, there's just not enough space for people to play. That's how amazingly well attended it is. And so of course, all these increases and all these things, on top of all, now that I've got the 350th behind me, I'm sort of set free on the Recreation Commission here. And I have, we've got a lot of stuff to catch up on that I've sort of had on the back burner for the past year. But things like, all these different things that we have going on, like the family swims, we have an adult softball. We're trying to get adult softball back into the Montague League, which is new this year. We have track that started last year. We have the cheer, basketball, soccer, softball, indoor soccer, which is also new. There's just so many things going on that the current way that the director is set for the 19 hours and under is not cutting it. Like, it was hard enough as it was, just to kind of keep underneath it. And now that I don't have the 350th sort of holding me down from being able to do as much with the rec, I'm just sort of like exploding at the seams doing all this stuff. So I know that that's just going to continue going forward. So I figured that having the rec director doing like 30 hours a week, it probably wouldn't actually make it that much. But I figured that would be max. So 30 hours a week. And that should cover, the added hours between, all the different things going on, the summer program. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot happening. I mean, I spend a lot of time fielding people's questions. Some people who are not great with computers and stuff that have issues trying to sign up and stuff, which is just going to happen no matter what program I have. So I've got all those things going on constantly. On my way here, I was driving here and one of the volunteers trying to get in the gym, the door was locked. So, I get phone calls for that at all hours and stuff. So it's just, to me, it's like, there's no way we can do and bring all the things to Northfield that we want and that the residents want at 19 hours a week. It's just not enough.
I've got a compliment, John, what you're doing for more the adult section of the town, because other towns are looking more for recreation for the younger, which is great, but we do have some
historically
adults.
This has been sorry, there's a delay.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying that historically this also has, I mean, they had some stuff like Zumba for the adults and things like that, but we really wanted to try to do everybody. I mean, there's the senior center that's got the seniors well taken care of course. And the teenagers are still something that we're trying to tap into a little bit. But as far as the kid, the sixth grade and under crowd and all the adults in town, I just felt that they needed to be addressed as well, not just the kids.
I don't know if we got your name.
Josh Roman, I'm the chair of the committee.
Okay.
So recreation shouldn't be just for kids, it's for everybody in town, and that's what we're trying to make it a focus. So how can we include recreation to the whole town? And by having somebody that can be more hours, we'll be able to do that more. So the more programs we offer, obviously the more hours we're gonna need. Because as an all volunteer committee, you're gonna burn out volunteers quickly, putting all the load on them. So we're hoping that we can kind of keep the committee intact more by having a paid position that's going to be there for more hours.
Yeah, the volunteers already on the committee already do quite a bit, especially like coaching and stuff like that, because those are all volunteers. We try to do things as minimal cost as possible, but there's going to be some money obviously that needs to be paid.
I was under the understanding that there may be increased use for pickleball and more locations. Is that something that is a rumor, or is that something that you guys are thinking about, or are there other places in town that are thinking of stepping to the plate?
So the fees did go up because last year was a trial, it was our first year doing it. It was huge and it exploded. And so basically we just need to help try to cover more of the cost of the recreation attendant. There isn't much as far as like we bought the nets and all that stuff, and that's pretty well set. There is the Community Bible Church has come up with the idea of maybe trying to do an outdoor pickleball court. The Recreation Commission has looked into it, but hasn't really gotten much further than that at this point. So it's really, as far as an outdoor pickleball court, that's the Community Bible Church has that idea.
Would that be something that they would take on their own? You guys work with them?
They're looking into it right now. They're looking into proposals.
Yeah, because you'd have to repave that whole area back there.
Yep.
And I don't know if the Recreation Commission would be coming back and looking to have the town help with that aspect.
So I think go ahead.
Sorry, Josh. I'm sort of limited in what I can see and where Josh, I'll let you talk though. Go ahead.
Okay, so they're looking at going after community preservation
Proposals, I think, after that. So we're not asking for additional funding for that right now. Yep, because that would be under recreation.
Mm-hmm.
So the Recreation Commission would sponsor that proposal and would sign off on it as we would be able to utilize the space. But then, as of right now, they're not looking to go for it into our budget for that.
So are you going to try to encourage them to go to the community preservation?
Yeah, so he's on the commission as well as our member from the
Okay.
Recreation Commission. So he's
Okay.
looking into doing that proposal. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions from anybody in the?
Do you know if there is a proposal?
I don't know. He was looking. So it's Bob Emerly. He's a member of our committee. He's looking into it. I don't know if he's actually had a chance to get one together to put it in.
Because the deadline
Deadline
for it
is
is basically
moving.
It's
Yes.
the
the
16th, I think.
this month.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it's the
Yeah.
16th,
Yeah.
so it's
16th,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we are not looking for any additional funding to fund an outdoor pickleball court. I guess is if
Okay.
you're concerned of our requesting.
If they are considering it, it's the time is ticking down.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
This year.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
he's very aware of that. Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
Was there, so Stacy, you penned this missive, it says you want to offer more activities, especially things that were filtered through the 350th that residents want to see as yearly activities. What are some of those? Anything specific that came out of the 350th?
Definitely a couple specific things. From the 350th, definitely people were asking over and over for that dinner dance. I've actually already looked into a lot of that. I'm not sure that we can do it quite to the caliber that the 350th did, but we had someone from the committee had we thought a really kind of cool idea to do like a block party every year. So something that's a little less expensive, but that brings the community together, has that sort of sense of, food and maybe having a DJ and similar, thought process, but not as pricey because that they really did a lot of donations and sponsors and money from the town kind of made that dinner dance happen. So we're looking into something similar, hopefully. And then also, what was the other one?
The symphony orchestra.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That
We're
was
looking
another
to bring in
one.
some kind of live music performances to the town that the town could gather and attend.
We wanna do this. And I feel like there was a third thing too. Well, I can come back to it if I remember.
Oh, the lecture series, but I think the historical.
Society was looking into more of his lecturer series that they had done.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming in tonight. Appreciate that. Thank you for all you've done for the 350th also. I haven't had a chance to tell you that, so I appreciate that, Stacy. So, and again, the recreation is always near and dear to my heart as far as doing that. So I appreciate you guys coming in, and we will be deliberating later on in the year, and unless there's something bizarre, we won't be calling you back unless we need some clarifications.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Everyone. Bye, Andrea.
Okay.
Since we have time to kill, do you want to knock these off? Since they're not really, not special town meeting, but these items here.
Okay, do you have any, I have no you have a correspondence, but I think it's primarily for you.
No, that's specifically for the, not for the.
I think
Finance
the only
Committee.
other thing is any meetings attended by any of the members that we could bring us up to date on.
The Community Preservation Committee meeting is going to be on the 18th
Okay.
of this month, so that's when we'll get the
That's kind of
proposals
like why I
together.
brought up that whole thing about recreation and that, because I heard that they were thinking about trying to expand that and know where they're expanding it, where they could get some funds for that. So that
That'd be a
would
good
be an
source.
excellent,
Yeah.
excellent way. But
I
they
know,
gotta get their act together.
I don't know that, but I heard that Greenfield put in some outdoor ones, and I was curious as to how much it cost to put an outdoor court in, and and where would it go?
The biggest thing is, as far as clearing it, down there was an existing parking lot, and right now it's got just a gravel kind of thing, or TGRM, or something like that. So it would have to be graded a little bit. It's fairly flat, because I drove over there and checked it out, because I heard about it. So what you may do is encourage them to put in, they can always submit it and then cancel it. if they they aren't going to go through with it. So maybe you want to talk to the other member that is actually on your board and see if they might want to put an application in. So,
Well, they have a representative on our committee, and it sounds like he's
aware of that.
he's aware of that, so
Yeah.
that should be fine.
You may not be aware that you don't have to go through with it sometime. Any other committees that anybody has attended? Andrea, we won't get into the town meeting yet because I want to finish up with the library, but
I think I could give you a little bit of an update of the EMS regionalization task force that's working on the grant as another committee that I'm attending. Just so you know, we are putting in a grant application to get some technical assistance from the state to look at some sort of way for the EMS, for the ambulance department to figure out how to organize, whether that's a regional entity, whether that its own private entity, whether that stays a town department, there's a lot of options there, and there's a lot of funding implications and structural implications and governing implications. And it really is just too much for any one person without serious expertise. So that grant will be going in this month. It is efficiency and regionalization grant. We had one previously to do the planning section that got us a report, which I think you guys all saw, which was really analysis of what we have, of the four towns, of the departments, made some staffing analysis and all those things. And now we're going to take that report and we're putting forward another grant application to do some implementation. In other words, take that report and actually working with the other three towns, because we already have that task force, arrive at a structure. There's some money in the grant to help with legal costs to review that structure for the towns. And there's also some money in there to offset potential changes in first year costs. Because we all know that it can't continue to run as a quote unquote volunteer entity. Ambulance services are very hard to come by, and most towns are struggling mightily. And that's why the four towns have ended up together, because they were all in dire need. And at this point in time, Northfield had a model that was sort of working, but we have stretched it to the absolute seams. It's bursting, and we need to figure out a better way. And that's what this grant will help do, how to pay for that. And so that task force is working on that. We're also a little bit of money in there to look at possibly a site for them. So it really looks like a very positive grant application. It doesn't obligate the town to anything. Nobody's committing to anything, but it's certainly a way to get some funding to look at how to actually structurally improve and maintain the operation and services of the EMS without burning out all the people who are doing this just out of, I mean, they're getting paid, but they're just putting in incredible hours, and we will burn people out doing this. So anyway, so I just wanted to give you an update on that. That goes in this month, and then we'll find out the results of that grant. Probably.
How are we coming with Mallory's replacement?
The applications, resumes are all due by the 17th. So next week, I have 5 or 6 at least. Several look promising. So I'm hopeful. My fingers are crossed. We'll see what comes in by the 17th, but we'll be moving forward. Certainly, there's certainly some people that are definitely worth interviewing.
And
so I'm hopeful.
Just so people understand, the funding for that is coming out of our ARPA money. Correct?
Yes, that job is funded out of ARPA money for an additional 2 years. And then we'll have to probably in a year's time discuss that position moving forward. Because it's been incredibly invaluable in this first year. $1 million in grants is just hard to replicate any other way.
I just want to say it's fortunate that Mallory has left, but I have to say when she was here, she did an excellent job and was very beneficial to our community.
Library, you said they confirmed they were going to be here? They're at 37 anyway. Sorry. I was thought they were here. They were here at quarter.
Yeah,
so.
you got 15 minutes. You're running
So,
efficiently.
so we do have some time to discuss the special town meeting, though. I understand that they're going to vote on it tomorrow.
The select board has a warrant before them tomorrow night, and hopefully they will be voting and signing the warrant. I believe you guys saw a draft of it. An article for some appellate tax courts, an article to join the Franklin Regional Council of Governments inspection program for gas and electrical. An article for some additional stationary solar radar units was added. Right now, and then some money from the sewer enterprise fund to do some technical assistance. Another article to do some repairs and engineering on Highland Avenue. And then finally, an act to increase the number of Board of Sewer Commissioners from 3 to 5 members. At this time, the only free cash cost that would be requested, and you'll have a chance to vote on this before the town meeting, because you meet the 22nd and the 24th is the special. So you'll have the final warrant. It's the select board still has a decision to make on one of the wordings, so it isn't 100% signed. It isn't signed at this point. Would be to take the FERCog joining fees of $6,000 we could take from free cash to join that. Otherwise, the other articles are paid for from other sources of funding. The appellate tax board would be from overlay, and the sewer enterprise fund would obviously fund the other two. And the radar units are to come from fiscal 24 police department salaries that will apparently be unused, as we have had been short a position for most of this year as school resource officer / officer position. So there's some money in there. So it won't be much out of existing funds. We would be moving mostly, it won't be out of future funds like free cash. Most of it's coming from existing funds. But I'll send this out to you once the select board signs it, and obviously it will be on your next agenda for you guys to vote your support, have a discussion of and vote your support as the finance committee to be presented at town meeting. So if there's any questions, I don't know. But so 3 articles on sewer and 3 articles not sewer.
Question, Andrea.
What did the select board finally agree to? How many radar units, signage units are they looking to purchase and install?
It says, originally, the way it's written, it says that we're going to look to, they decided to go with up to 8. I believe the new language says for the purchase of 8 or up to 8 possible units.
Will that include the new cruiser if passed later on? Is that why it's up to 8? So if there is a new cruiser on board?
Well, there's 2 we got by grant. So 2 were received on a grant, and then they started talking about other locations. But not, so they, I know there was the police chief had a discussion with one of the select board members, and he will be there tomorrow. It's on the agenda for them to discuss this topic as well, as to where the placement of the others would be. Most of them tend to be around the entrances and exits of Northfield.
If these are not portable, they will be stationary. Is that correct?
They are not portable, correct. They would be on a pole planted in the ground.
Did they get an idea what the maintenance will be?
Per year cost?
Not been responded to, has not been answered to me. I mean, obviously the first year or 2, not much.
It's obviously a warranty, but I'm just
And
saying.
for after that, how much would it cost to maintain?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a warranty for a few years.
Because obviously the town's employees aren't going to maintain it. You're going to have to call somebody in if there's a problem with them.
I assume if it's a very technical thing, yes. I mean, replacing the battery might be something that, an employee can do, how they can do, but I don't know for sure what other maintenance is involved in these.
Might have a maintenance, might have a maintenance contract that you can buy in.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Battery placement.
That may be as
That's
well,
right,
yes. And I'm hoping they'll ask the police chief will have some information on that tomorrow, because he's already done the work on, they've looked into 2 of them.
The other thing is, any idea what their lifespan is for those?
B seems to
something just you can speak to this?
Oh, I was just gonna add that Tom Walker, the highway superintendent, will be there tomorrow night to speak to it. And I spoke to him on Friday because I was concerned that he weigh in as well. And he's already spoken to other towns, including Gill. And I think he was trying to reach out to Greenfield as well, but hadn't heard back. But he's not, Gill's actually had theirs for 18 months to 2 years, and they haven't had any issues. So Tom's reaction seemed to be that he didn't see it as a major impact on his department. He thinks the portable ones are more of a problem because they get frozen or they get stuck, and then they get called to go help the police get it out. And also he's concerned about where they're located from a plowing standpoint, that they could be damaged, as well as the battery has to be on the portable ones. Now the battery has to be charged quite frequently. If you see them out, that's the reason why. So the initial reaction was that the maintenance was not burdensome to any one department.
So does the price include installation of these?
I have no idea on that one. I can ask tomorrow night. The first two are grants, and my recommendation, rather than going around and like putting in like all of them all at once, is get the 2 free ones, stick them in, see how it goes, and then start to add and locate others as you go. I think the other concern is, some folks will probably react to a blinking light of some sort near their house. So I think there's always the pros and cons. And I just want to make sure that rather than going ahead, and that's why I asked for the language of up to 8, because maybe we don't need 8 of them. Maybe we only need 6, for example. I think we'll know more after we get the first 2 in. But I can ask tomorrow night about any questions that you have tonight. I can certainly bring that up tomorrow night in the select board meeting.
Any questions?
No.
I think Misha's here. If she wants to come in, we just can't start until 7. No, they're out in the hallway. Anything else you wish to discuss while we're here? I do not have any correspondence. I do have one here, but I haven't had a chance to view it. It's from the superintendent of schools. So I'll have that ready for our next meeting.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Well, you can sit down, but we have to wait a few minutes here. You guys are a little bit early, and we're a little bit quick on what we're doing. So if you do have to leave, that's
No,
fine.
I'll just, it'll probably be 15 minutes. So
If-
yeah, that's what I mean. So it's.
So we got most of the other stuff done.
Yeah, exactly. That's I
perfect.
didn't know if it was perfect.
I was just explaining earlier, we started a little bit late, and you can always start a little bit late. You cannot start early. Okay. So that's why we're going to hold you here, captive audience, for at least 5 more minutes before we hit you with all of the questions that we're going to ask you. So it's going to be that pregnant pause for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, glad you're here. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Like watching Chrome Rust. I'm sorry. So what I'm going to do next time is put approximately in time, so we
Okay,
can
so
start.
we can,
and we'll work
yeah.
through it. But when I have a specific time, you've got to keep to that specific time.
And you may have a couple of departments that do
Are
run
really
over
quick
to
or
the
really
next.
long as far as that, so. And we figured at least 15, 20 minutes per,
Yeah.
so 20 minutes is actually what they figured, I think. That's just whatever.
We're not on
No, we might be when we talk.
I'll go by that.
Andrea, while we're waiting, you there?
Andrea, Tony has something he wants to ask before we get
Yes.
started.
These, signs we're talking about, don't forget West Northfield. 142, a lot of traffic, a lot of speeding on there.
Oh, yeah, well, there's two places at least there and the end of town here, so that's at 4 right there.
63 down the farms area. Oh my God, truck.
Yeah.
Then we got that.
I thought they were talking, I mean, this is all can be discussed tomorrow night, but they were talking, down Millers Falls Road. I know they were talking 142. You're 2 on each side, so you're up to 4 there. I'm sure there was 2 on Gulf Road. There was a whole bunch of different places that they were talking. I think they were also talking, the grant was looking at 2 on the Main Street.
Yeah,
So
one on
we're
each
working
side, right?
placement for 10 up, but on Main Street and then going up towards the college, like the stretch in front of Town Hall. The others would be for other areas in town outside of the Main Street, like either all the way down on Millers Falls on 63, Gulf Road is under discussion, 142. So there were various locations that were being discussed.
Seeing it is 7 o'clock, we're gonna proceed with our next committee, or actually the next department, the library. First of all, would you please introduce yourselves?
So I'm Misha Storm, I'm the library director.
I'm John McGowan, and I'm chairman of the trustees.
Alex Trisky, one of the trustees.
And for those who don't know, I'm Dan Campbell, chair. We'll go around the room.
Bernie Parada, vice chair.
Tony Mateo?
David McCarthy.
Gail Weiss.
Sue Kaczynski.
Misha, you're on.
Okay, so almost everything's the same as last year. We've got 2 changes. The smaller of the 2 is a bump in the materials line, $2,000 more there. The reasoning for that is we have a minimum requirement by the state of how much we need to spend on materials. I think most of you, it's been the same for decades. And so right now our minimum requirement is $36,000 and our materials budget was $30,000 this year, so I'm just trying to scoot it up closer to that requirement a little bit, because otherwise we have to make up for it from
Someplace.
So that's the first ask. Any questions on that?
No?
Okay. And then the second ask, the bigger ask, is to add 10 additional weekly hours for a circulation assistant or substitute circulation assistant. So that would be an ask of $8,168 for the year, and that would get us 10 hours a week of circulation assistant time.
Is this addition to
It's
this
in
person?
addition to, so, and it's not a particular person, like right now the position is vacant.
Okay.
Just for the past couple of months, I just haven't filled it right now. But right now we have a position that's every Saturday, that's 5 hours a week. And then we have subs for the same position. And those positions get paid the same amount, it's the same job description, it's just one's every Saturday and one's substitute.
So these are kind of part-time positions held by several different people at different times? Is that what it is, or?
The substitutes, yes. So right now we have 2 substitutes on the payroll. They don't have any regular hours, but they end up getting used every week. And then we have the Saturday position, which that position is 5 hours a week. It's a permanent position, same person every Saturday.
Okay.
for 5
So
hours.
how many hours totally, if it was one person doing this? That's what I'm kind of getting at.
If it was one person?
Yes.
So it would be a guaranteed 15
Yep.
a week,
Yep.
and then there's a little bit of wiggle room in the budget for sub hours. So I think that allotted is $1,000 for the year right now for
Mhm.
substitute hours. So that would be, but that's, someone goes on vacation, someone gets sick.
Yeah.
So that's
So is it are you anticipating using multiple people to figure these hours in? What I'm getting at, if we get to a certain point in time, it becomes a position where we would have to have a benefited position.
No, it'll be multiple people. So I'll never go over that 18-hour threshold
Okay.
for any one person. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was kind of.
Yeah, no, it'll be, I'm the Saturday position's still posted at 5 hours, depending on the person, we could bump it up if they wanted more, or I will be hiring and using my subs more
Mhm.
for a more, regular basis. Right now, we're using subs, we're using our substitute, but she's coming in twice a week to cover us, and we're using state aid budget from our state aid line. So that's outside of town budget, but that money is meant to be in addition to normal things like salaries and operating funds.
Any questions?
I'm just curious, why did your CWMRs go down?
Yeah.
You never expect to
See things
Oh,
go down.
down, yeah.
Actually, because we switched from getting internet provided by them. We had Comcast and
Yeah.
CWMRs for our internet provider, and I got rid of CWMRs, and now we're just doing Comcast.
Okay,
And so we're not
because don't
paying-
you usually pay CWMRs for that big library for
We
access?
do, so we are still, so that's, what number is that? So that's the lower number, that's still,
It's still within the CWMR's number, it's just not the
Yeah.
$895.
Five is the,
Okay.
what, the internet?
right,
So
so
we
now.
took out the internet part of that.
Okay.
Right, $800 or so was the annual internet fee from
Oh,
them.
okay, okay.
And so we're not using that part of CWMRs anymore. Still using
Yeah.
all the other parts of CWMRs.
Yeah, 'cause then that CWMRs doesn't go down.
No.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Nope.
I do not.
Would you like, any questions you'd like to ask of us? Since
Are you sure?
I made you,
I'm prepared.
I made you wait 5 minutes.
No, do you have questions?
I don't have any questions.
It's one of the assets of the town is our library. I don't,
Oh, yeah.
people I think use it quite frequently, and I think it's one of the nicest things that we have, not only one of the nicest buildings, but also one of the nicest things we have in our town. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. And
A lot of activities there.
And it's a lot of people that do
It's
take
become a
advantage.
social, a resource for people in town to get together and to
Oh, yeah.
say, and to communicate and that it's, the library's become just more than just taking out books and.
Well, yeah, because you
That
guys,
is- it
you
has
host
grown in
other
this-
things there that people I may or may not realize. So what are some of the other, not necessarily the library programs, but the use of your building that they do?
The use of the building. We host all sorts of meetings in our community room. We have meditation every Sunday morning. That is not a library program. They use the community room. The Bird Club and other organizations in town use that community room outside of library programs.
Get the puzzle thing going.
So
That's great.
that's a Friends program, and we have 100 people every first Saturday come in and get puzzles.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty crazy.
Knitting group.
The knitting group, the food pantry is in the building, which is
yeah.
huge.
Awesome. That's
So we're busy all the time, and so in addition to it being a safety thing to have 2 people on staff in the building, it's also having a little bit more staff will allow me to work looking forward rather than reactionary all the time, and instead of just responding to what's going on, I can have time to do administrative stuff and planning. So.
perfect.
Good.
I think I've helped you long enough. Again, what I explained to everybody else is we are a recommending brand. So we will look at your budget and we will make recommendations whether we approve or not. I don't see there'll be any issues, but we'll be doing our deliberation. If something comes up that we don't understand, we may call you back in.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, let me know if there's more questions.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your hard work.
I think we have exhausted most of our topics here, or all of them. So I'm looking for someone to make a motion. Oh, basically before that, just bring up, our next meeting is, I have it here.
22nd.
22nd?
22nd.
22nd.
Because special.
The 22nd, and you
Oh,
do
yeah,
have
sorry.
the fire, you do have the fire department scheduled at 6 o'clock. The EMS department switched to 6:30. The police will be at 7, so it will be your public safety meeting. So they're all scheduled in for that meeting. Just one change, on your February 12th, and I'll resend the whole sheet with the departments. February 12th was to be the schools. PVRS is still scheduled for 6 o'clock. Franklin County Tech could not make it for 6 o'clock that night. They are now scheduled for March 4th. They couldn't come the 26th. So I will resend your agenda, but everybody else, well, most everybody else but one department have confirmed the times. So
Since we're on February, I just want to let people know that I'm going to have to pass the reins over to Bernie for February 5th and February 12th. I will be out of the state. So I hope that we can make sure we have an agenda for those days.
Yep.
Or else I will have to try to zoom in here someplace, depending on where I am on the
5th and the
We
12th.
got budget hearings those days, don't we? Yeah.
The 5th, and I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks, so that's why
Yeah.
I want to let Bernie know it way ahead of time. What we'll have to have help maybe with the agendas. We're working on that.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Before I head out. With that being said,
I got a question.
sure.
It's budgetary, and I'm new to this process, so this might be a question for you, Andrea. So I'm standing in line at the IGA the other day, and I see that the state has allegedly given Northfield like $500,000 in refunds from scratch tickets and lottery. Is that a true statement?
you're talking about unrestricted general government aid. We get an allotment every year and it's funded through the lottery.
And
So
where does that show up on your
if you look at your budget summary sheet,
Okay.
there's something called cherry sheet receipts. The cherry sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the cherry sheet receipts is unrestricted general government aid. In other words, that's money they give you. And that UGA is from the lottery.
Perfect.
Good question.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I was like, that's a lot of money.
That is. It is.
Yeah.
Hopefully it helps.
I wanted some of it.
And then I just had,
get it every single year.
Yeah.
We have for decades.
Perfect, thank you.
I had a budgetary question too, as I've noticed some people are asking for the extra hours or
Yeah.
when you benefit. How is that evaluated down the road? Because it's more than just adding to their budget. You're adding to health insurance, you're adding to retirement, you're adding to OPEB.
What is the cutoff hours, you mean?
Yeah, when they're like, well, not the cutoff, but I've noticed a few departments are, looking for benefit, taking a part-time, changing it to benefit it. And then I think there's like some add-on in EMS or.
Well, I think in order to go to benefit, you have to have the number of hours, if I'm not correct.
Right, but I'm wondering, how do we deliberate those positions? Because it's not just adding to the budget, to the regular budget, it's adding to health insurance, the retirement cost. And
We do keep in our budget extra. For the times when somebody comes in during the middle of the year, or our new hires, or a new position is created. So there is money in the budget to be able to do that. They usually think of 1 or 2 extra positions, as far as I can
Right, but
know.
that's only if there's a change in the middle of the year. Gail is correct that if you do add if you do up a position above 20 hours, above 19, then I do add for next fiscal year, I do have to add to your health insurance line item. So you just have to understand that when someone asks for that, for example, the only position tonight that asked for that would be the rec position. if you were to approve the increase in hours for the rec department, I would add health insurance to your bottom line. Same with when EMS comes, we know we're looking at some positions. They've been talking about health insurance. So that's a separate discussion, but it should be discussed each time you discuss the budget because it isn't just the salary increase. But those are the only two I'm aware of right now. But Gail is correct. It does add to more than just your salary increase to go over the 19 hours a week.
That's exactly why I asked her how many hours this position. Actually.
Right, for the library.
And
Right,
that
right, for the library,
exactly.
but I noticed
If
they were
get to
just
that point,
looking.
then we'd have to have a
Right.
little different discussion on that.
Do you add to retirement at all, Andrea?
Well, we don't necessarily add because that assessment comes next year. It's something you have to keep in the back of your mind that you will. We pay OBRA for those people now, but we will shift to retirement, correct, if they go over. But we don't have any way. I mean, I don't put it in next year's budget because it's not till the following, we get the assessment for the next year. So we've already received our retirement assessment again for this year. So it is, yes, these are considerations. That's why you get that position request form. I created that a couple years ago so that anytime someone wants to change a position, there used to be nothing. They used to come in and ask for it. But the position request at least documents on paper. Yes, we're having a position and yes, we're changing it. And yes, it is a request. So it stands out a little bit more other than just say, oh yeah, it'd be great to have 20 hours a week in that position. Oh no, it's a position request change. We're changing that position, either title or by hours or whatever it is, for you to consider, yes.
Any other occasions or questions? We'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to have the Finance Committee adjourn at approximately 7:15 p.m.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Gail Weiss, aye.
Sue Kaczynski, yes.
Dan Campbell, yeah.
Ernie Prada, yes.
Tony Mateo, yes?
David McCarthy, yes.
See you in our next meeting, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.
Have a good evening.